Welcome to episode 27 of the Loane Hockey Podcast, where today on this podcast, we're going to be talking about a goaltender for the first time and something that I've never actually done before. But with goaltenders, are obviously very unique to evaluate because sometimes they can get easily lost and compared to the rest of the game when you're watching the rest of the game because goaltenders, it's a very different position. It's very different in how it's played. It's very different in how it's scouted and how it's utilized for analytics as well. So when you look at the different perceptions of goalies in the league nowadays, and how they're able to trend. A lot of modern day goalies are trending in a obviously positive direction with the fundamentals that are built upon their game. So today's episode, we're going to talk about Connor Hellebuyck, and Connor Hellebuyck is playing for the Winnipeg Jets, obviously, but with him, what's really noticeable and really intriguing within his game is first and foremost the poise that he has in the reverse VH and butterfly to be able to lock down angles, be able to play on top of the crease with size and range and how he's able to utilize those components within not only his butterfly, but being in the reverse VH as well to track pucks and ability to stay focused on the shot lane. It's something that's very underrated when talking about Hellebuck's game and so vital to his game because he has to maintain that poise in the reverse VH to be able to stop high danger plays and be able to stop sequences leading up to potential goals in dangerous areas. And he's really good at doing it in dangerous areas on cross seam plays when plays are moving across the slot or laterally in general inside the offensive zone. He's really good at making those stops and generating those saves. And he's so good at being able to make stops in any area. So you look at his high danger saves, how well he's able to make saves in low danger and medium danger in those areas specifically, and how well he's able to adapt his angles and how well he's able to adapt his positioning and his ability to lock down his feet and his edge work to be able to utilize that as well. And when it comes to his edges, he's really good at accelerating off his edges. And with goalies, you don't tend to notice edge work as much because you're so focused on what they're doing to move laterally and their spacing elements and their puck tracking elements and how they're scanning through lanes, scanning through pressure, how they're able to adapt to the play in their blocker side and their glove side as well. But when you look at Hellebuck's game, and a lot of it is built off fundamentals first and foremost, but especially his edge work and his skating and how well he's able to push off both his inside and outside edges to be able to accelerate moving laterally. And he's really good at doing it. And a lot of goalies have to be good skaters nowadays and very fluid with their feet and be playing on their toes so that way they're engaged in the play and engaged and locked in at all times because the best goalies are able to have their ability to be locked in at almost every time. And sometimes they might get themselves out of it, but they find the way to get back into the game as soon as they can if they lose their focus or they get distracted or whatever happens. And with Hellebuck, he's so good at being able to maintain that focus and maintain that focus through his edge work and how he's able to maintain that poise as well and tying that back into the reverse VH and that butterfly and how well he's able to utilize his edges and be able to accelerate off those edges as well. And one of the things I noticed when going through his analytics is his expected goals against average was actually higher than his actual goals against average, meaning that so his goals against average better than expected was 0.56, meaning that his ability to generate stops and efficiency and how he makes saves was better than expected. So he was making saves and world class saves based on that data, based on that information alone, which is really intriguing because you obviously know he's an elite goalie. You obviously know based on his positioning habits, his edge work, his skating, his fluidity, his focus, his tracking, his puck tracking, all those different elements, how well he's able to combine those. And he's obviously won the Vezina before, but you look at the depth of his game and how well he's actually able to make these saves is actually really underrated and really good to talk about when talking about his game. And he's so good at doing it. And another stat that I noticed and multiple stats that I noticed, and this is minimum 30 games played for the elimination of bias and small game samples as well. His goals saved above expected per 60 ranked first in goalies in the regular season 23-24, first in save percentage above expected, first in save percentage on shots on goal, and his wins above replacement in first at 5.52. And second was Thatcher Demko, who had an elite year at 3.67. So in the regular season, Hellebuyck was elite and he was so good at being able to generate so many different saves in many different situations. And an elite goalie, obviously, but when you look at the depth of his high danger game and how well he's able to make saves in high danger areas, this has contributed to a lot of these analytics and how he's able to make saves above expected and how well he's actually able to contribute in being able to generate these saves consistently as well. And he's been the backbone of this Jets team for a long time. We know that and how well he's been able to be a play driver in his own right. And sometimes it's easy to label forwards and defensemen as play drivers, but goalies can be play drivers as well, and how they make saves and how they generate stops, how they generate sequences that can make or break a team in certain moments. Because Hellebuyck's the type of goalie who can come up big in very big moments as well, which is another big thing for the Jets team and for the Jets in general. And another big thing when talk about Hellebuyck in his game is he's really elite at using lateral pushes, lateral extensions, and making saves mid glide. And this is something I've noticed a lot in many different games. And with him specifically, how well he's able to make those saves in mid glide range, and how well and how efficient he is at being able to generate saves mid glide. So when he's in the midst of his movement, it depends on where his pad movements are. It depends on his feet position. It depends on how square he is to the shooter. But those elements combined allow him to make those saves mid glide because usually, more often than not, he's already in a better position and he has depth to his size and his range to be able to make those saves more efficiently, especially moving laterally. So being able to maneuver mid glide is actually much easier for him because he's able to use those lateral push-offs and lateral extensions easier than many and some other goalies in the league. And another big thing is the depth to his spatial tracking as well, and how he can scan lanes, how he can scan layers of pressure, the depth to his focus, the depth to how well and how consistent he maintains awareness of his glove and his blocker, and he's very elite at handling that front chaos with poise. And when you look at his game and the overall makeup of his game, what I'm really intrigued by with him is how he's very consistent with his habits in terms of his glove and his blocker, and how well he's able to keep those and maintain awareness of those. And it's something that can often get underestimated, but the little habit of being aware of where the glove and blocker's position can allow the goalie to stay focused. If they let their glove or blocker drop easily, then they can lose focus in the play a little bit easier. So, in comparison, being able to maintain that focus, and part of it of maintaining that focus for goalies being able to maintain awareness of the glove and the blocker side, where the glove and the blocker are being positioned, not too high, not too low, and usually right in the middle. And then that allows them to get depth to their stance when they're able to position the blocker and the glove a little bit more as well. And another thing with him is how well he uses puck tracking and how he identifies where the puck is going and using his ability to 5-hole seal. He's really good at sealing a 5-hole and tracking across his glide on the and when he is in the butterfly. And we obviously mentioned his push-offs and his lateral push-offs with pace and how well he's able to do that. But the ability to accelerate off his edges with precision and how to make timely saves in big moments. He's really good at all those different circumstances. He's really elite at sealing the post as well. And obviously, a lot of elite goalies have that quality where they're able to lock down the post and lock down many different angles. But Hellebuyck's really good at sealing the post and not allowing much room to be able to let players shoot through. And the last thing he's really elite at is being able to box out opposing players as well. When you look at how well he can stay square to shooters and how well he adapts to shooters and how well he adapts to the angles and being able to maneuver in a timely way, he does it so well and so consistently. It makes him one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie in the league by far. So there's a lot of depth to his game and a lot of nuance to his game, especially the analytics show that as well.